Hi, this is Ted Carr. Welcome to my presentation on Statement of Net Worth. I'm so happy that you could join me for this presentation. Here's what I'm going to be covering. I'm going to open up with a few announcements, followed by the context. In other words, where do statements of net worth fit into the world of personal finance? And then I'm going to explain what a statement of net worth is, followed by why you need one. And then I'm going to show you how to create a statement of net worth using a template that I have put together and is available as a download from latertofire.com/downloads. And then we'll take a minute and wrap things up. Okay, for those announcements, well, in case you didn't know, Claire and I took the summer of 2021 off to catch up on some travel that we had postponed and to just sort of take a break. So now that we're back, we've got some new content coming your way. First, there's a new blog post that I've written, and it's how we spent our summer break. So if you want to see what we did, go to latertofire.com and look under the blog posts, and you'll see this, how we spent our summer break. Now, by the end of this month, because as I'm recording this, it's early September, by the end of September, there'll be a new newsletter out, and that's the roundup. And if you haven't subscribed, you can do so from the Later to Fire homepage. And there'll also be a new podcast episode that's titled What's Holding You Back? And by that we mean, what's holding you back from starting the journey to pursue financial independence? Okay, next announcement. Please like this video, share it in social media, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our channel. And for those of you who have subscribed, thank you very much. It really does help. And by the way, we've decided not to attend FinCon 2021 in Austin in person. We're really looking forward to it. Extremely disappointed that we're not going to be going in person. We're not going because the situation with respect to COVID in Texas. So we're going to attend virtually. I don't know what that's going to be like. If our experience turns out to be interesting, I'll find a way to share it with you either through a presentation or a podcast or a blog post. So that's where we're at. So let's get on with our presentation. Okay, context. Back in July, we released our Later to Fire Quick Start Guide. It's intended to help people get started on the road to financial independence in only 3 steps. As you're well aware, sometimes when you start something new, there's just too much information and it's hard to figure out, well, just where do you begin? So that's why we created our Quick Start Guide, was to just say, okay, you got a lot of information. Here's our take on 3 things that will get you started in pursuing financial independence. And step 2 is titled X-Ray Your Financial Health, and it itself has 4 components. Calculate your net worth, which is the topic of this presentation, followed by calculate your FI goal number, calculate your savings rate, and examine your current spending. Our Quick Start Guide is available for download from the latertofire.com homepage from the download menu. Okay, so what is a statement of net worth? Well, there's several different ways of looking at it. One is it's a report card of your financial health. It's also the difference between what you own and what you owe. It's a dollarized listing of all liquid and non-liquid assets minus all short-term and long-term debt. As an equation, it's assets minus liabilities equal net worth. So why do you need a statement of net worth? Well, I think because it provides an objective reality check. Are you where you want to be? How do you compare with your peers? And there's a rule of thumb that goes this way. Your target net worth is equal to your age minus 25 times gross annual income divided by 5. A statement of net worth establishes a baseline for future comparison, which is very important. It helps with goal setting. It tells you how liquid your assets are, and it helps you get a handle on your debt, i.e., it provides that reality check. Okay, so now we're going to take a minute and go over the Excel spreadsheet, which is available to you as a statement of net worth template. So here's what the template looks like. It has these tabs here. Statement of net worth shows you your total net worth. There's non-liquid assets, liquid assets, debt, definitions, and tracking. So a couple of notes before we get into the column A here. The first is, do not enter data into the cells in this worksheet because it is derived, these values are derived from these other tabs here, these other worksheets. Second, the tab titled Definitions explains or defines some of the key terms that I use in the template. Number 3, this is just FYI, in case you're not aware, tax-deferred investment accounts carry a penalty if money is withdrawn before 59 and a half. And of course, there are some exceptions to that, but that's just an FYI. And the fourth note, the template contains test data. So when you download this template, erase all the input data, which again is contained in these tabs down here. All right, so here's how it's set up. Assets and liabilities. Within assets are non-liquid assets and liquid assets, and the types of non-liquid assets and the types of liquid assets. You'll get a subtotal here of your non-liquid and liquid and your total assets. And of course, liabilities. I've merged short and long-term debt for simplicity, and here are the categories that I've come up with that can comprise short and long-term debt. Total liabilities, subtract them from your total assets, there's your total net worth. Pretty straightforward. But, but for me, I always like to get into a little bit more detail than what you might see in other statement of net worth templates. So here we go. Let's dive in. So non-liquid assets. So this is where you enter data. This is test data again. So you would say, okay, I'm going to put in, say, 5. That goes to 10, and over here, that's gone to 10. Just so you see the ties, right? So real estate, that's a type of non-liquid asset. And these are some of my ideas as to what contains or what comprises real estate. Business, if you own a business. Transportation, recreation, and for each one of those, they're subtotaled, right? So subtotal transportation and recreation, and you find it over here. Personal property. I had a bit of a discussion with Claire on this one because it's really hard to value personal property, and people tend to overvalue their personal property. So I think I have some words about that in the definitions. But I decided to include it because it is part of your net worth. Just don't overdo it. Contracts, and I consider annuities and life insurance policies contracts. Again, if you don't have any of this stuff, just zero it out. If you do, you have to do some work to figure out what the current value of these types of contracts are. And lastly, certificates of deposit. So there you see the $45 of test data, and it's reflected over here. Let's take a look at liquid assets. And this is what I mean by level of detail, right? So I break it down into the components of cash, the components of investment accounts, tax-deferred investment accounts, total liquid assets, again with these subtotals, 15. If I was to say make that 100, that goes to 107, goes to 114, right? We'll put it back down to 1. Debt. So in terms of debt, unpaid bills. Oh, different. Hope you don't have 4 credit cards, but this is where you put in a different kind of bills that you want to include in the liability side of the equation. Mortgage, things like primary, second, HELOC, rental properties. Again, you can see there's an opportunity here to put in a lot of detail because we're all different. We all have different mixtures when it comes to our assets and our liabilities. And I just try to give you more control, shall we say, by creating this level of detail. Business, and their business loans. And of course, that would be the amount outstanding, right? Your equity minus your debt. Transportation and recreation, autos, airplanes. How many airplanes do you have? Boats. Student loans, personal loans, and other debt. So there you have your debt. Definitions. I'm not going to read each of these, but I got statement of net worth, non-liquid assets, business, liquid assets, debt, personal property. Just again, my take on what these key elements of the statement of net worth mean. Now here's one you may not see on other statements of net worth templates, and that's tracking. And I think tracking is really important because that's how you identify trends. And are you progressing at the right rate or according to your plan, or you're falling behind and you need to do something else. So that's the amount, and you can put in anything in here, as you'll see. It's data entry, the year 2021 through 2030, and these 45,000 through, I think it says 83,000. So, or you can see 100,000. So you can see the line going like that. So let's say, instead of 55,000, it was 75,000. So you'll see how the graph changes. Boop, a spike, but then it came back down. That's not right. But that's just to show you that this is a really cool little graph here that you can use to track your net worth over time and see your trend. I guess if you're really like me, a big planner, you could even put in a plan line and see your variance to a plan versus your actual. But let's not go there. So that's a template. I think it's pretty cool. I hope you can use it. If you have any questions, you can always email me, or you can do things like try to put it into Google Sheet, which I have no desire to do. But if you do and you want to share it with other people, let me know, and I'll put it as make it a download, or somehow I'll find a way to share where people can get a Google Sheet template from. All right, so let's go back to our presentation. And it's time to wrap up. So as I said earlier, you can download the Statement of Net Worth spreadsheet from the laterdeferred.com download menu item. And as I said earlier, be sure to delete the test data, and don't overwrite the data on the very first sheet. That's derivative data. And my disclaimer, I'm not a financial professional. I just love finance. I'm not offering advice or recommendations. I'm simply sharing my experience for illustrative purposes. Your financial decisions are yours to make and should be done in conjunction with a financial professional. I appreciate you staying with me through this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. Thank you. Until next time, all the best.